Now, next on tonight's programme, there are two kinds of racists in Ireland. There are the ones you often hear who just have a problem with foreign people and don't even know why. But they usually keep their opinions to themselves and don't really cause any harm. Then there are the serious racists, who spend their days on racist chat rooms talking bull about why they hate anyone who isn't white. These Irish racists even meet up for a Nazi-type meeting, according to a story that we read in the Star today. Page 18 on the Star if you want to check this story out. These Irish racists meet for meetings. They discuss how bad Ireland has become because of all the non-whites living here. Now, their issue is not whether or not foreigners are taking our jobs or our women or sponging off the state. Their problem is that they just don't like people who are non-white. Now, these are the real racists in Irish society. They are angry and dangerous. And according to today's news, there are a lot of them in Ireland, and they communicate through a racist website called Stormfront. Now, you can check this out for yourself, because going on this site, you will read them talking about, for example, these are just some of the things we read today, how disgraceful it is that mosques are being built in Ireland, why Ireland is becoming less white, about organising skinhead racist groups, having neo-Nazi meetings in the Dublin Mountains, and about how non-whites are committing crimes in Ireland. It's all very scary stuff, I have to tell you, to hear how racist these people actually are. But tonight we want to find out about how you feel about racists like this who join groups like Stormfront. Should they be hunted down by the guards for inciting hatred? Or maybe you believe that we are living in a free country and therefore everyone is entitled to their opinion, even racists. And this comes back to a discussion that was had, for example, in the UK last week regarding their anti-terrorism legislation and the right of freedom of speech, about whether or not people are entitled to say stuff, even if that stuff is unpalatable for the rest of us. 6797104 is our telephone number. What I'm asking you is, people who are involved in and posting on websites like this, if it's possible to track down a guy who downloads paedophile porn, then it has to be possible to track down guys who are putting postings on websites like this. Or maybe you think that these guys are as entitled to an opinion as you or I or anybody else. 6797104 is our telephone number. Let me go to Jamie. Jamie, you're on FM104. How are you, Jamie?
Very good, sir. Thank you for having me on.
Now, Jamie, I understand you are the moderator of one of these websites that we're talking about.
Yes.
You're the moderator of Stormfront.
Yes, senior moderator of Stormfront here in Florida in the United States.
Mm-hmm. And obviously there is an Irish section on your website.
Yes, we have something called Stormfront Ireland.
And explain to our listeners what Stormfront Ireland is.
Well, we have a section of Stormfront in every white nation on Earth, from Russia to Australia,
mm-hmm.
and in total around the world. In fact, your call is on the day that we reached 75,000 members.
75,000 members of Stormfront?
Yes, and over 1,000 of those members are in...
Say that again?
Over 1,000 of our members are Irishmen.
Over 1,000 of your members are Irish. Did I hear you correctly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Stormfront, in summary, what is your website all about? What does the organisation Stormfront set out to try and achieve?
The main purpose of Stormfront is to provide a place online where white people from every white nation on Earth can talk freely.
And talk freely about some stuff that is very, very unpalatable to a lot.
Yes, and the reason that we're in the United States is because, as it happens, the United States is the only white nation that has a very strict First Amendment, which states unequivocally, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. No other nation has that sentence in its Constitution, and it makes us, so we are, you'll find that most of the equipment that houses free speech websites for white folks is housed in the United States, whether it's for people in Ireland or people in the Netherlands. We have 5,000 members in the Netherlands. Or Australia. We have 4,000 members in Australia.
Okay, and 1,000 Irish members, which I'm interested in. And, okay, so what you're saying is that the website itself breaks no Irish laws because it's not hosted in Ireland. It is based in the United States. Even the Irish section is based in the United States.
Absolutely. Everything we do on Stormfront is fully protected by the American First Amendment and is entirely legal.
Okay, and that's the discussion that we want to have on the programme tonight, about people having a right to freedom of speech and be able to say and have discussions about things that a lot of people find just very unpalatable. And I just quoted a couple of examples off your website that we looked at today. For example, discussions on how disgraceful it is that mosques are being built in Ireland, about why Ireland is becoming less white, about organising skinhead racist groups and having neo-Nazi meetings here in Dublin. And do you think that this is all perfectly acceptable for members to be swapping notes like this? And I know, for example, the last time we talked about something like this, there were death threats made against me personally on this website. You think that's acceptable?
Anyone who makes any death threat against anybody on Stormfront will be immediately removed, permanently. And that's a rule. That's a rule that we post on Stormfront. If anything like that ever gets on there, it's only a matter of minutes or hours till one of our 34 moderators gets to see it and takes it off. If I may address the things you mentioned, I think it is horrible that mosques are being built in Ireland. I think that's clearly horrible. Mosques have no, Islam has no history, no right, no tradition, no claim at all on Irish soil.
Well, the world is becoming a smaller place, and people are moving to parts of the world that they would never have moved to before, and with them comes their religion.
Well, yeah, except it's all a one-way deal. Yes, Muslims are moving to Ireland and France, where 1/4 of the children are now Muslims. Yes, Muslims are moving in. Nigerians, Jamaicans are moving in. Chinese are moving into all of the white countries. However, it's not going the other way. There are no races moving into China, no other races moving into Nigeria, and Middle East. The Muslim nations, they wouldn't dream of allowing other races.
Could that not have a lot to do with economics? I mean, who wants to move to Nigeria?
Well, but that's, I think the real reason these people, first of all, it's a moot point why they want to move here. They don't have a right to, whatever their reason is.
But
Jamie, the main reason they want to come is that the white countries are better places to live.
Jamie, I need to cut across you for 1 second because I need to go to a commercial break. We're back in just over 2 minutes. 6797104 is our number.
We're waiting to take your call. 6797 FM104. This is FM104's Phone Show with Adrian Kennedy.
You're very welcome back, and thank you for joining us live on Dublin's FM104 and City Channel on the television, on NTL Digital Channel 123. This is The Phone Show with Adrian Kennedy. Hope you're enjoying the programme tonight. We're talking about freedom of speech, basically. That's what the discussion we're having is. But whether or not people are entitled to have freedom of speech to run down other people. Today, we read an article in the Star newspaper about this is what the headline says: sickening scourge of racism in Ireland. Poisonous skinhead thugs stand shoulder to shoulder in the Dublin mountains. They are clearly wearing... one guy's wearing a T-shirt with a swastika on it. The other, they're carrying flags with swastikas. Apparently, they meet in the Dublin mountains. Behind them, flags clearly displaying swastikas. One displaying the words "Éireann go Bragh, Ireland forever." One of the men is wearing a swastika on his T-shirt and so on. Anyway, then you look at the website Stormfront. And on Stormfront, we found out that this year's camp-out took place in the Dublin mountains. The spot was a clearing surrounded by forests, and fortunately, the weather was great. After setting up camp erecting flagpoles, etc. We had a few drinks, followed by a barbecue and a huge bonfire. Of course, we had a stereo playing white power music and drank and talked into the early hours of the morning. It was a brilliant white power gathering, many more to come. Now, we're asking whether or not people are entitled to essentially freedom of speech. By posting on websites like this. Now, Jamie is the moderator of the Stormfront website. Just before the break, he was saying that people are entitled to speak. They have 1,000 Irish members, and the sites are hosted in the US because of the First Amendment, which guarantees the right to freedom of speech. Before the break, you were asking, Jamie, why foreign people are even coming to Ireland. Can I just put this to you? Is that any of your business?
Well, yes, it is. Because thousands of generations of Irish ancestors fought, died, toiled, struggled to preserve that land that you're standing on for their posterity. And the same is true of my ancestors, by the way, who include Irish ancestors. And they have to be rolling in their graves to see that we have let the doors open. We've let the barriers down. Not the people. The people have never been for this. Treasonous government officials who should be immediately taken out of government and really charged with crimes, malfeasance, and high treason for allowing the largest land invasion of white nations by non-white invaders that has ever occurred in history.
All right, let me bring in some calls on this. Our telephone number is 6797104. We're asking basically whether or not people are entitled to even say this sort of stuff. Are we entitled or should we be entitled, as they are in America, to have complete and utter freedom of speech, which we don't have here. And the reason I say we don't have is that I can't, for example, make any sweeping statement about any race or colour or religion without being prosecuted for incitement to hatred. Now, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing to a point, in that I've always argued with shows like this that people are entitled to the freedom of expressing their opinion. But when it causes harm to others, that's where I kind of draw the line. And Jamie, do you not see that freedom of speech can have its limitations, or should have its limitations? No. And the harm being caused, yes, people are being harmed. It's all the citizens, the real, true, ancestral citizens of Ireland. They are being harmed. They are the ones who are the victims of the crime. They're the ones that are being pushed out of their neighborhoods. They're the ones that are having their jobs taken away. And by the way, and this is something I can say in America, that, it's a tragedy. It's horrible that in our ancestral home of Europe, that you, Europeans, that gave birth to this nation, you can't say these things, but I can say them with complete freedom. I can say that it is the worst tragedy in history, that the genetic line of Irish blood is being wiped out, is being ethnically cleansed from the Irish homeland. And when the Irish blood is gone, when the Irish genes have been either mixed or pushed out of their territory, it can never be restored. Ireland will be gone forever. But as I said to you, Jamie, in this country and in Europe generally over the last 10 or 15 years, there has been an influx of all sorts of nationalities from all sorts of places all over the world. And this is particularly noticeable here in Ireland in the last couple of years. But this is predominantly due to economic reasons. In that country, people from countries in Africa, from countries in Eastern Europe are coming to Ireland mainly for economic reasons. And the point that I would make is, and the point that has always been made is, us Irish went off to America in years gone by, and now it's just kind of coming around full circle.
Well, those Irish went off to forests that they cut. They went to farms that they created out of virgin, raw land that wasn't being used. But let me make this point about the influx of people coming in. There are over 1 billion Indians. I would wager every single one of them would like to live in Dublin. There are 1.3 billion Chinese. I bet you every single one of them would rather live in Dublin than live in Shanghai. Now, the way the law is set up right now, and the way I call them traitors who rule Ireland, and the elites that rule Ireland, the way they have it set up now, there is no limit on how many tens of millions of people can flood into Ireland, and the projections of the demographers are unequivocal. Ireland will be a minority Irish country before the year 2050, and I've seen some people that think by the year 2030, Ireland will be no longer Irish, and Pakistanis, Nigerians, Indians will actually control Ireland. It's unthinkable. It's like something out of a horror movie, and it's so the stupidity of it is so colossal.
But sorry to cut across you, Jamie. The point that I would make here is that this is not necessarily, and it's something I've always argued when it comes to immigration in this country. This isn't a problem that should be directed with hatred against the people who are actually coming here. This is a problem that should be directed towards our government for allowing people to come into the country. And
I'll tell you the people to hate. I'll tell you the people to hate. The cowards and the traitors sitting in government offices in Dublin. That's the people to hate.
But the point that I would make to you is that websites like yours, with the rantings of some people on these websites, are encouraging us to hate people themselves. The people who are coming here for various economic reasons and what have you. And I don't think that that's right, that we should be encouraged to hate those people by having neo-Nazi rallies up in the Dublin mountains and so on, because I don't believe that they are the problem. I believe that the problem is that we've had a lax immigration policy here, not against the people themselves, but your website would encourage hatred against any sort of ethnic minority.
Let me use a different verb. Let me use the verb resent. I think every Irish man and woman has a right to resent Nigerians moving into Dublin, to resent Chinese moving into Cork, to resent Pakistanis moving to the Emerald Isle, and to be indignant about that. That's not hate. I would call that sanity and common sense, which the common people of Ireland have not lost. And in every public...
All right, well, Jamie, stay there for 1 second. Do you consider your website a neo-Nazi website?
Not at all. That is a slander put on us by people who want to shut us up.
Do you have any links with the Ku Klux Klan?
The Stormfront.org has no links to any organization. It is purely a free speech political discussion forum designed with the interests of white people in mind. The sort of thing that every other race has.
Okay, why do you allow your members to use Nazi propaganda and Nazi names and so on?
We don't censor members. Here's what we censor. We do not allow anyone to advocate illegal acts of any kind. We do not allow racial slurs. They do appear, and we take them off. If someone wants to talk about a Negro or a black person, use those correct terms, or a Jew or a Pakistani or a Chinese, use those generic terms. We do not allow racial epithets. We do not allow any personal attacks on individual people.
All right, let me, sorry, just on that point, that specifically happened to me as a result of having a conversation like this about 2 years ago, so it wasn't moderated well at that time.
It's better now, and I'm very sorry that somebody insulted you or bothered you.
All right, let me go to Teresa. You're on FM104. Teresa, how are you?
Hi, Adrian. How are you doing?
Very well, thanks, Teresa. What's your point, please?
I was listening. I've been listening since it started, and Jamie said that website is for white only, right?
Yes, and in fact, at the top of their page, Teresa, it says "White Pride Worldwide." That's what it says. And your point is?
My point is, what is so special about being a white person, to Jamie?
That's a very reasonable question, and I'm assuming, Teresa, you're from where?
I'm from Africa. I'm black.
You're black and you're from Africa. And the question is, Jamie, and this is a question that many black or Chinese people probably wonder, what is so special about being white?
Nothing. And we don't want anything more than what those black and Chinese and Indian people already have, and they take for granted, and no one challenges their right to it. Chinese have China. Nigerians, this lady has a country, Nigeria. Mexicans have Mexico. The Japanese have Japan. We, the Irish, are entitled to Ireland. Every square inch of it, every blade of grass, every inch of the coast belongs to, for all time, for eternity, to the Irish people. And that is
and basically... sorry, let me just cut across you for 1 second, Jamie. I want to say goodnight to our viewers on the television who are leaving us now. Thanks for joining us. This conversation continues on the radio for the next while. But goodnight to viewers on City Channel. Sorry, Jamie. So what you're saying is that no one else need apply? Nobody else is welcome?
Not a single person. Ireland,
Teresa, what do you say to that?
Irish.
Jamie, like anybody else, everybody is entitled to every part of their country. What are you what are you white people doing in those black people's countries? I believe they are black people. There are white people out there in Africa or even in those countries like Japan or anywhere else. What are you doing there? If you don't want any other person who's not white in these countries, in Ireland, what are you doing in our countries?
There are no white people invading China, no white people invading India. I assure you, there are no white people who want to go to Nigeria.
Well, sorry, Jamie, I mean, white people did invade India. The Brits colonized India.
Yes, a very small, yes, let me finish. A small number of white people did go to places like India, did build the railroads, did bring the Industrial Revolution to India, did in fact double the lifespan of the average Indian by bringing public health to India and clean water, and bringing food and good agriculture to China. And yes, some white people did that, but we never moved en masse by the millions and stole other people's countries.
White
sorry, I have to say I can't agree with you on that point, because we did steal.
White people who have farms in countries that are owned by black people. What are you doing there? What are you doing about that?
All you have to do, Jamie, is look at...
They own half of their country. They own every part of their country. What are they doing there?
Jamie, all you have to do is look at the...
saying you don't want any other...
I answered her question. She's asking the same
Sorry,
question.
Jamie, the first point I was going to make to you is, firstly, all you have to do is look at the tragic mess that was South Africa in the apartheid era.
Exactly.
And that was caused by white people invading...
Black people's country.
Yes, that's exactly what caused that.
I don't want to give the history of South Africa, but it's almost a moot point, because the 6 million people that built and created the wonderful country of South Africa, which include many Irishmen, that wonderful country is now coming to a horrible close. There are less than 4 million whites left.
And who is causing that?
They're being murdered with the highest murder rate of any country on Earth. Who is causing that,
Jamie? Who is causing that?
The people murdering the white farmers in South Africa are all black.
And who is causing that to happen? Who is causing that to happen?
Okay,
if you look at it straight,
we're kind of
you
going
go
in
back
circles
really
here. Can we move to another topic?
Who is causing all that to happen?
Question.
Okay, let me come back to Ireland specifically. And on your Stormfront, Teresa, stay with me for 1 second. On your Stormfront, for example, there are postings about building a mosque in Ennis, and racist graffiti in Harcourt Street and in Finglas here in Dublin, about Dublin whiteifying, whatever that means, and so on. And it goes on, and it is all very... A lot of the postings on it are what I can only describe as nasty and hate-filled. Now, I know you have freedom of speech in America, but do you think that people should be encouraged to hate somebody like Teresa just because she's black and from Africa?
I think they should resent. If she's in Ireland, they should resent her presence. Let me comment about.
Why is that?
Sorry, resenting someone's presence, in my opinion, is the same thing as asking us to hate them.
Exactly.
If I moved to Lagos, Nigeria, and I set up there and I started milking the public funds there and taking away the jobs and so on, I would very much hope that she would resent my invasion of her country.
And Jamie, how many people are in Ireland, are doing that? And how many people in Ireland that are not non-white are just here to work or to get to learn or do whatever it is that they're doing, not milking anything from the country? What are you doing about that?
I can tell you for certainty that every single non-white person in Ireland is there to displace Irish people. Because by definition, when a non-white person occupies a job, a house, a piece of land in Ireland, that was just displaced forever from any, unless it's reversed, from any Irish man or woman who would have at some future time had that job, that land, that place, that heritage that country that belongs to them and to their posterity forever.
And Jamie, what is a white person looking for when they do the same thing in South Africa? What are they looking for?
Look, ma'am, you've asked the same question 10 times. There are no white people who want to move to non-white countries. None.
They are there.
No, they are leaving.
If you visit those countries,
the few that are there are leaving in droves.
Some of them are still going.
They're
still taking the country. What are you doing about that?
Sorry, Jamie. Okay,
Adrian, you answered the question. You asked a question I haven't answered, and that's about hate. When people see their country being destroyed, what did the Irish fight for? What did the Irish fight for? Their freedom of the independence of Ireland. Why were they fighting? What were they fighting for? They weren't fighting to make it a place safe for Indians, Chinese, Nigerians, and Jamaicans. That is not what your Irish ancestors were fighting for, and that's not what they expected you to fight for as well. As far as hate and anger is concerned, anyone who's not angry about what's happening is not playing with a full deck. You have to be angry about this now.
But the point that I made to you,
angry? Right now, on the phone, I am angry. Now, I might put up an intemperate post, but I forgive somebody for putting up an intemperate post when they see their country and their families.
But but here's where I have a bit of a we will differ in opinion here. Your websites and the postings that I've read on your websites would encourage Irish people to hate a lady like Theresa. Now, she is a human being like I'm a human being, like you are a human being, and your website and some of the postings that I've read on it would encourage Irish people, indigenous Irish people, for want of a better word, to hate Theresa.
No, we would encourage Irish people to buy back whatever Theresa actually lawfully owns in Ireland and give her a first-class ticket back to Nigeria, give her the best accommodations possible, pay her more than the fair price on anything that she happens to own in Ireland, and give that back to the Irish people. There's no need to hate her. I'll tell you what we are about. We are about a passionate love of our race, of our white genes, which are irreplaceable. When they are lost forever. When they are mixed forever. And we love the white race, and that's why we resent the invaders who really threaten to destroy the white race. France is overrun with... Look at the riots in France. I visited France I lived in France when I was a young man in the 1960s. France was entirely white. Paris, where I lived, and all the cities I lived in France were entirely white. I'm almost afraid to return to France from what I have heard, that a quarter of the school children are Muslims. And that there are more laws.
But hang on for 1 second. Just on the France issue, that is France's own fault, because it went to countries like Algeria and took over the place, and then was forced to have to take their nationals in. It's their own fault.
I wouldn't blame the French. I wouldn't blame the French. I would blame the treasonous and cowardly elites who rule France.
All right, Theresa, you wanted one more point. Go on.
And I just want to ask, does it think black people are not proud to be black?
I hope you are proud to be black. I hope you are proud. What is your native country? Nigeria?
I'm not saying my country. I'm sorry, brother.
Okay, well, anyway, whichever African country is your native country, you should be very proud of it. And I wish you would go to work to make that place a place you could be more proud of, and work on your country. Do not invade. I'm not an Irish. Well, my ancestors are Irish. Do not invade the Irish people's land.
Proud of my country.
Can I just, Theresa, I appreciate your call, and thank you very much indeed. Can I just clarify one thing? This is regarding some calls that we have gotten in, asking why I'm allowing Jamie to stay on the phone line. Some people suggesting that it is promoting Stormfront. Certainly not. The reason I am keeping this man on the phone line is because we have learned that there are up to 1,000 members of the website Stormfront. There are 1,000 people at least who espouse the views that you're hearing from Jamie. There are 1,000 people at least who are involved. All you have to do is read today's Star newspaper, who are involved in Nazi rallies in the Dublin mountains. I want to understand what these people are about. I'm not promoting them. I'm not condoning them. I'm not encouraging them. I just want to understand them. And I think you should as well. If you don't want to know, if you want to bury your head in the sand that these people are out there, turn off your radio and make a complaint to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. If you do want to know what these people are all about, if you do want to know what makes these people tick, stay tuned. We're back with more of your calls in just over 2 minutes. Don't go away.
Call Adrian on 6797 FM 104.
One number one radio station. One late night phone show for Dublin. FM 104's phone show with Adrian Kennedy.
Now, you're very welcome back and thank you for joining us. This is the phone show with Adrian Kennedy with you right through until 1 o'clock. The phone show, officially Ireland's, not just Dublin's, Ireland's most listened to nighttime radio programme. It's nice to have you with us on the show tonight. Lorna, you're on FM 104. How are you, Lorna?
I'm grand, thanks.
Now, Lorna, what's your point, please?
Basically, okay, I've been listening to your show, I listen to it every night, and tonight I think the topic is quite interesting. I have to say that I agree with Jamie 100%. Why shouldn't us Irish have the right to say whatever we want to say? I mean, there's not many of us in this country. There's 3-4 million people of us in the country, and we're letting in these foreigners every single year. More and more are coming in, and the more they come in, the more they multiply as well. So what, in 50 years' time, there's going to be probably more foreigners in the country than there is going to be Irish. And
that was a point that Jamie made a couple of minutes ago. But what I would say in return is that I think it is wrong for us to, with websites like this, and I know Jamie says that they don't allow, severe negativity. I don't agree with that. What I'm saying is that the people we should have an issue with are the people who run the country, not the people coming into the country.
Actually, I agree with you with that. I think the government shouldn't allow these people to come into our country. I mean, you open up the paper every single week and you see... Can I mention a nationality?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Well, you see Latvians especially. They're always in car accidents. Every single week. Like, there was an accident in Donegal. 5 of them were killed. Like, God love them. I do feel sorry. But they're lunatics on the road. They just drive around, think they can do what they want.
But again, sorry to cut across you, that's not necessarily something that we should hate them for. That's something we should hate the Garda Síochána for letting them away with it.
But why shouldn't we hate them for it? They're the ones that's driving the cars. They're the ones that's killing people. It's not the guards that are there sitting beside them. Fair enough, like, I mean, the guards should be maybe out there on the roads, but they can't do everything. I mean... These people that come into our country, they drive around.
Okay, the point that I was making a while ago, Jamie, or Lorna, is that I don't believe it is constructive to have websites specifically targeted at hating ethnic minority groups, because I don't believe that they are the problem in this country. I believe the problem is the lax immigration policies that we have had here. Nothing to do with the people themselves.
Well, I think that if a person dislikes these people or whatever, I think that person has the right, if they want, to go onto this website. Whoever doesn't like the website, then they don't have to go on it. If I want to go onto that website, which I haven't, and I probably won't, but if I did want to go onto that website in the morning to express my views, well, I think I have a right. Because I tell you one thing, these people, and I'd say 50, maybe 100 years' time, probably will be taking over the country because they have an extreme bad attitude. And I'll just give you an example. A sister of mine used to work in a factory in the local town, and there was a few of them that was working there. Actually, they were Nigerians. And one day they turned around to my sister and they said to her, in a few years' time, we will run this country, you Irish. You will not be the leaders, it'll be us. I mean, and he was dead serious. And we're Egypt, so we are. Our government's letting them in left, right and centre. They're in here, they're having 5 and 6 kids. They're claiming for this, that and the other, buggies, prams, cars, you fucking name it, they're claiming for. And I mean, and we're letting them away with it. It's just ridiculous. I think they all should be shipped off on a boat back home to their country. Because I'll tell you one thing, if we were in their country, say the likes of Lagos or something, we'd be probably stabbed, shot, killed. There's no way that we would survive in that country. Yeah, we let them in here with open arms and give them everything. It's just ridiculous.
Can I just go... all right, and I understand the point that you're making, but I still have an issue over us inciting hatred against the ethnic minority groups that have come to this country. People don't... some people certainly have come, I agree, to screw this country and get what they could, but is that their fault? Is that their... If you were to offer me £1 million to move to Florida next week, I'd be gone like a light.
I know, but the government's not out there offering them this. They're coming in the backs of lorries. They're coming in. We don't even know how some of them are coming in, but they're coming in. They know every trick in the book. They're cleverer than we are. They're more intelligent.
I don't agree with that for 1 second. 50,000 Irish people are over in America at the moment as illegal aliens. They're doing the same thing. They're going there because they want to get jobs, they want to earn money. They're there illegally, and they're all about...
exactly. They want to earn money, and they're going there for jobs. Most of these people that come to our country are here, and they're being destructive.
Lorna,
flying around
with the greatest
no
respect...
insurance,
Lorna, with the greatest respect, any foreign national I know, and I don't know too many, but any foreign national that I know who's living in this country is working as well. They're the ones I know. All right, stay there for 1 second. Nadia, you're on FM104. How are you now? Oh, sorry, Nadia, stay with me for 1 second, please.
Okay.
Because I have a call who's been holding on for quite some time. Ian, you're on FM104. How are you, Ian?
Hi, not too bad. How are you?
Good. What's your point, please, Ian?
Well, first of all, I agree that we should have freedom of speech. You know, I don't agree with what he's saying, but I do agree that we should have freedom of speech, because if you ban one thing, then people will start banning all sorts of things. And second of all, he says that mosques have no place on Irish soil. Well, he's an American, and I don't know where all the white Americans came from, because I thought it was Native Americans that were originally over there.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he has as little place being in America as a mosque has being in Ireland.
But, I mean, talking about Native Americans, you know, when you look at presidents like John F. Kennedy, who was of Irish ancestry, what was he doing leading a country that should have been led by Native American Indians?
Exactly.
So,
America, when the early settlers, the Irish, the Scots, the English, the Germans, when they came here, this was a wilderness. These were Stone Age people, very sparse numbers of Stone Age people. There was no nation here. There were no roads. There were no buildings. There were no ports. There were no farms. This was all built by Europeans who came here and made this what it is.
But it was their country. And it wasn't even a country. These were Stone Age tribes. Stay at home and make your own country a better place. Well, what happened to America? Well,
I'm sorry?
What happened to America? You said to the last caller, stay at home, do not invade other people's countries. Well, what happened to America? What happened to the Native Americans?
There was no country here to steal. There was no country. There were Stone Age people living in sparse little tribes, living a life.
But sorry, hang on for a second.
Years, sir.
Yeah, but in fairness, this was like in the 1500s, when the whole world was a little bit backward. Now, in fairness, you know, there were parts of the world that were a bit more developed, but the world was. The point he's making is that the Native American peoples, just like the Aboriginals in Australia, that was their land. And white people came and took it.
Well, the best thing that ever happened to the Aboriginals or the Native Americans
sorry, I can't hear both of you.
To them was, in fact, the arrival of Europeans who gave them, tripled their lifespans and put them in automobiles, airplanes, put clothes on them, and gave them nutritious and good food so that they could have good health, which they did not have before the European arrived.
Sorry, Ian, go on.
Sorry, but I thought that they helped you when you first arrived over there. That's what the Thanksgiving holiday is about. When the first people landed, that the Native Americans looked after them and showed them how to live in America. And then in turn, they came back and killed them all.
May I inject something here, Ian, and also to Lorna, who made very good comments, and to you, Adrian. Here's the problem. You know, we're white folks here, and we're being way too nice. We're being way too nice. These other peoples, these Chinese, these Nigerians, these Pakistanis, they are playing for keeps. They are playing hardball. When they take our land, they're not giving it back, and they're not going to give a fig for your ancestral rights once they've taken them away from you. We're playing on a very unfair playing field here, where we're all worried about being nice to people and not insulting them and not hurting their feelings. I don't mind hurting their feelings. I don't mind telling them they need to get on a boat and go back where they came from and make their country into something decent and worth living in. Don't come here because you've messed up Mexico or Pakistan or Nigeria. Go back there, fix it up, leave us alone, and leave our land, please.
All right, I want to bring in some more calls on this. 6797104 is our telephone number. Can I just make reference, Jamie, to the fact that we tried to ring one of your members who regularly posts on the website and who actually gave a phone number on the website and invited him to come on to FM104 tonight, and he just hasn't taken a call all day. So his username is Ted Roach. Now, what's that all about?
Well, let me say, you've made the right phone call here, because you are calling the headquarters of Stormfront.org. You've called the head office, and so you're talking to.
But I'm talking about
the right people.
I'm talking about
Stormfront.org.
I'm talking about members here in this country, living and breathing amongst us, who are too chicken to speak up.
Well, you know what? When you have a situation where, for instance, you have people all over Europe being tried. You have a party that was trying to stand up for the Flemish white people. Vlaams Blok was actually outlawed by the traitors in the Belgian Supreme Court. You have people like Ernst Zundel in prison. You have Nick Griffin being tried in Leeds for simply objecting.
For inciting hatred, Jamie. For inciting hatred.
No, he is upset, and 1 million Brits who voted for the British National Party are upset that their country is being overrun by Pakistanis, Indians, and Lebanese.
All right, let me go to Nadia. You're on FM104. Nadia, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Very well, thanks, Nadia.
Jamie, I'm a white person, but I'm a foreigner. My skin is white, okay? And I totally disagree with what you're saying, and I think maybe you should put your hiking boots on and go to the Dublin Mountains.
Okay, where are you from, if I may ask?
I'm an Arab, but not all Arabs are not white. There's a lot of Arabs who are white. Did you not know that?
Arabs are Arabs.
Yeah, but they have different skin colors.
Well, they're genetically...
And if you were to meet me in the street,
they're genetically
you'd think I was an Irish person because I have an Irish accent and I look Irish. And if you were to befriend me and I become your friend in work or whatever, would you turn... And after you finding out I was an Arab or a foreigner, would you tell me to get on a boat and go back home?
Ma'am, you nor your children will ever be an Irish person. You are not Irish. You can't be Irish. It's
I am Irish. My mother is Irish and my father is not Irish. He's not white. My mother chose to marry someone who's not white. Is she stupid?
I don't make personal insults like that. I'm telling you, an Arab is an Arab, a Nigerian is a Nigerian, and an Irishman is an Irishman, and an Irishman owns Ireland.
Sorry? What?
And it's as simple as that. It's not a matter of hate. It's actually a matter of sanity. It's insane for the Danes to give up Denmark, for the Swiss to give up Switzerland, for the Irish to give up their beautiful island, and it's an irreplaceable island.
Ireland
There's no
is
other
beautiful.
place.
I
There's
think
no
that
other
as well,
homeland
and I think
for the
many
Irish
countries
than
are
Ireland.
beautiful. Do you never travel? What do you do when you travel? Do you go sit in a hotel and mix with white people only?
I think that, well, I'll tell you, when I traveled through Europe, every European, I traveled through Europe in the middle of the 1960s, and I went to most European nations. Every country in Europe was white. There was no invasion.
Oh my God,
there were no millions of Muslims. You could go for days or weeks without seeing a Muslim in Europe in the 1960s. This is the biggest
and not all Arabs are Muslim, by the way.
Can I just ask you, Jamie, what part of America do you live in?
I'm in Florida right now at the Stormfront.org headquarters.
Okay, you're in Florida. And can I ask you, do you have any black friends?
I've had black friends in my life. As we speak, I don't have any black associates.
Even though there will be quite an amount of black Floridians.
Well, I'm like every race, all races. Everyone. This is so obvious. It's like the nose on our faces. Of course, we keep to our own. We treat our own as our family because biologically they are our family. We are related to. If I fly to Dublin next week and I get off the plane, I will be looking at my true genetic cousins.
So what are you doing over there then?
I'm sorry?
What are you doing over there?
I'm over here with the millions of Irish who came here and made this a productive land.
Jenny, you're on FM104. Hello, Jenny.
Hi, Adrian. I'd just like to talk to Jamie there for a minute.
Yes, go on.
Just pick up on a point he actually made about the mosque being built.
Down in Ennis, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'd just like to ask him, if it's a thing about religion that he has a problem with, or race, or whatever, is it right that we should have Protestant churches in Ireland? I am not racist myself at all, in any way.
But you would consider this a Catholic land, and why do we have Protestant churches in a Catholic land? And
exactly. Is it right that we should have them?
My objection to the mosque is entirely racial. It is entirely racial. That mosque is brought by people who are not genetically Irish. If somebody who has Irish genes is either a Protestant or a Catholic, they are still 100% Irish, and their children and their grandchildren and their great-great-grandchildren will all be truly genetically Irish. And they may choose to be Catholic, they may choose to be Protestant. But somebody who builds a mosque, I assure you, is not Irish. Their genes are not Irish, and they will destroy and eliminate, wipe out the Irish genotype. The blood of Ireland will be erased by these invaders.
So you mean to tell me, will England come over and invaded Ireland? Like, I mean, do you not think there's English blood in us as well?
Well, first of all, I think the Irish did the right thing in fighting for their land. Fighting for their land. And whether it's fighting the English or fighting anyone who would invade their land, the Irish did the right thing. And I'll tell you, ma'am, very respectfully and very admiringly of one of the most beautiful countries on earth, the Irish who fought and died for the freedom of Ireland, even from the English. Those people lying in graves all over Ireland have to be spinning in their graves as Irish, as the today's generation of Irish people, but especially the false leaders, let floods of invaders come into the country who are far worse than the English, because the English are white. These invaders, they won't just steal your goods or steal your crops. These invaders will steal your racial...
Jenny, can I ask you this? When you hear people like this, some people, Jamie, when they listen to you talk, think you're a babbling lunatic, making absolutely no sense in a small world because the world has become much smaller. It's so much easier for people to travel than they ever could before, and therefore, with the world becoming a smaller place, the genetic pool is going to spread. And you're living in a dream world to think that in 200 or 300 years that there will be whites only and blacks only because it's all going to get mixed up.
Every demographic statistician can tell you that in 1,000 years from now, China, the Chinese genotype will be intact. China will be just as Chinese as it is today. And they can tell you that Mexico will be just as Mexican, Nigeria will be just as Nigerian 1,000 years from now if present trends continue and are not changed. However, it is only in the white countries that we will be minorities in our own country within the next 50 years.
All right, let me bring in some more calls. Karen, you're on FM104. How are you, Karen?
Hi, Adrian.
Good, Karen. What's your point, please?
I want to make a point to Jamie. Not every Nigerian, black person or otherwise, are in this country to rip this nation to pieces. 80% of our medical field is made up of non-EU nationals. They are here to do a job that Irish people cannot do, that we have not got enough medical professionals in this country.
You're telling me that Irish people can't pick their own apples, can't provide their own medical care. You make me laugh, ma'am. The Irish people for thousands of years.
Do not patronize me by calling me ma'am. I am under 40 and I am not your mother. Let me tell you,
Jamie, hang on for 1 second.
Non-EU nationals.
Jamie, can I just point...
If you have a problem with that, it is take it up with the Irish government.
And Karen, that was the point. And that was the point that I made earlier on, Karen, that this isn't an issue for the people themselves. This is an issue that should be directed at our government. But Jamie, can I just make a point regarding the medical profession here in Ireland? We have such a shortage of nurses and doctors to an extent that a lot of them have been brought into the country from places like the Philippines because we have such a shortage. Now,
no, you have been fed pure propaganda. If every single non-Irish doctor and nurse were to get on a boat and leave Ireland tomorrow morning, the Irish people would come up with the medical care they need within 24 hours.
It would take 10 years to train them properly and to enforce it. Jamie, have you ever lived in Ireland?
No, I haven't, but my ancestors
have. Have you ever been in Ireland?
If you have not stepped
Jamie, have you ever been in Ireland?
Lived here and see the problems that we have here, then you are talking through your head.
Ma'am,
do not patronize me by calling me ma'am.
Propaganda is being fed to every... By the way, our newspapers are controlled by these treasonous people who
pick it up with the Irish government and the people that are in power. Do not
every white nation.
And another point that I want to make to you as well.
They do not have the people to do the work of their own nation. This is ridiculous. The white people of the world are the hardest working people who have ever inhabited this planet.
I have to disagree with you.
That's why our countries are so productive and
I have to disagree with you on that one. I have to disagree with you. I am actually married to a black Nigerian Muslim. And I can tell you with hand on heart that I can say to you he is not a lazy person. He will go out and he will do any job that he thinks he has to make a living.
That's an absolutely moot point. And first of all, that's a straw man argument. I never said that non-whites are lazy. I said that whites are hardworking. And it doesn't matter. I don't care one bit why a non-white is in a white country. It is absolutely irrelevant why that person is there. It is simply wrong. It is wrong.
A Filipino nurse is coming in here that you do not have a place in this country. Now, let me tell you another thing, right? You have said that
by the way, may I
Islam has no culture, has no base in this country.
Filipino nurses and doctors from India and so on, why aren't they taking care of their own people?
Why? Why?
Don't their own
they
people
cannot
need
earn
medical
a
care?
decent living in that country.
Don't the people of the Philippines who have shorter lifespans and are much less healthy than we are, don't they need medical care? Why do their medical
coming into this country are doing the same thing because they want to make a better living for themselves and their families.
And that's precisely, Jamie, that is precisely what the Irish have done in the past, and I might point out, are continuing to do with 50,000 illegal Irish in the States right now, right this very moment. All threatened.
Irishman, sir, it's impossible for an Irishman to invade the United States. The Irish built the United States.
But hang on, Jamie, if that were the case, then your government wouldn't be about to throw out 50,000 Irish people who are illegal aliens.
Adrian,
that is a pathetic. Now that's a pathetic story. We have millions upon millions of Mexicans, and the government makes no effort at all to get them back into Mexico. And yet our government.
Jamie, the point that I'm trying to make to you is that us wonderful Irish. Jamie, the point that I'm about to make to you is us wonderful Irish are as capable of doing exactly what you're accusing foreign nationals coming into Ireland of doing, and invading a country illegally, and then getting thrown out. Your government is about to throw out 50,000 illegal Irish aliens. Now, we're doing the exact same thing.
The Irish are us. They are our...
Well, then why are your government throwing out 50,000?
They're not invaders. They are us.
Well, your government is about to throw out 50,000 Irish people for being illegal aliens. One last call, or two last calls, very quickly. Sinead, have I talked to you yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, very quickly, Sinead, what's your point, please?
Hey, Adrian. Yeah, I live in an apartment complex with a lot of Nigerian people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to one woman now, she has a few kids over here, and the reason she left Nigeria is because she's seeing her uncle being killed and her auntie being raped in front of her. And her own husband was killed in Nigeria. That's why she came to Ireland. And
country is a hellhole. Her country is a hellhole. And do you know why her country is a hellhole? The things that make Nigeria a hellhole and Pakistan a hellhole are being brought to Ireland.
Well, come here. Why did you go over to Iraq and kill innocent Iraqis then?
Oh, we should get out. Oh, the Americans in Iraq.
Come here, Jamie, can I ask you one thing?
America is in Iraq for Israel's sake. It is
no, it's not. America is in Iraq
money
for
and 2,000 American lives squandered for Israel.
And come here and I tell you, there's African Americans fighting in the army for years in Iraq. And they're not they're sacrificing their own lives for America, for the country that they believe in, so that people like you can build up a website against them when they're saving your life. That's the reason you're alive, with your own website.
Oh, ma'am, America should get out of Iraq.
Jamie, what kind of American are you? Are you American or are you Irish American?
I have Irish roots, but my family's
you have Irish
for 3
roots?
centuries.
And come here, you're going on giving about African people that Irish is going to be ruled out soon, because Irish people are going to start having babies with other ethnic roots. How come you're Irish American?
That's a point I've put to him on several occasions, Sinead. Let me just bring in one last call. Jenny, you're on FM104. How are you, Jenny? Hello, Jenny? No, she's not there. Jamie, I have to wrap this up. The point that I would put to you, and I would put to people who are members of your website, your 1,000 Irish members, is it is okay to have an opinion. although opinions are like assholes, everyone has one. But here's the thing. I think it is wrong to encourage people to dislike, or what was the word you used? Resent or hate people of ethnic minority groups, because I think that's very unhelpful for society at large. And whilst I understand some of the points that you make regarding this country and what it's becoming and so on, I think it is wrong to direct that hatred and that annoyance and that anger at the people themselves. And I think that's how you end up with the likes of the race riots that we've witnessed in France over the last couple of months. Anyway, Jimmy,
Adrian, thank you, and say to the wonderful Irish people, the fact that you hear my voice is a very good sign. There is a remnant of free speech left in Ireland.
A remnant. Okay, thank you, Jamie. Thank you very much indeed for your call. As I said to you earlier on, we don't put people like him on this show in order to promote themselves, in order to encourage you to find out. It's primarily so that you know and I know who these people are, what they stand for, what they're trying to get across. And he says it himself that there were 1,000 members here in Ireland. A number of those members have had Nazi meetings up the Dublin mountains. We need to understand who lives amongst us and what they're on about and what they stand for. None of them, not one of the Irish members, not one, had the guts to ring in this programme tonight. So they're lily-livered chicken shits who just hide behind websites. Armchair terrorists, if you will. And I've no respect for people who don't want to stand up for what they believe in. To an extent, I have a little bit of respect to our caller for taking our call. But these guys are very, very sinister individuals who will hold these rallies in the Dublin mountains and then not have the conviction of their beliefs to actually come on the radio to defend themselves, because there is no defence for hating people. Full stop.